The Miami sun painted golden streaks across the hotel suite as Violet Chen pressed her phone against her chest, her fox-like ears twitching nervously beneath her carefully styled blonde waves. Her tail, a magnificent blend of russet and cream that she'd inherited from her mixed heritage, swished anxiously as she typed another message. Missing you already, babe. Just landed. Girls are being crazy as usual. Face throwing a kiss. She hit send to her husband Nathan and immediately switched to another conversation thread. Room 847. Can't wait to see you. Bring that cologne I love. Violet studied her reflection in the floor-length mirror, adjusting her sundress over her athletic frame. Her cat-like pupils dilated with anticipation as she applied another layer of lipstick. 3 years of marriage, and Nathan had become so predictable, working late at his architecture firm, trusting her completely, never questioning her increasingly frequent girls' trips. Her phone buzzed. Nathan's response appeared. Have fun, Vi. You deserve it. I love you. Guilt flickered somewhere deep in her chest, but she pushed it away like she always did. She deserved excitement, didn't she? Nathan was stable, reliable, safe, but Tyler made her feel alive. Tyler didn't talk about mortgage payments and retirement plans. Tyler made her laugh, made her feel young and desired. Violet. We're hitting the pool. Her friend Jessica called from the adjoining suite, her voice bright with vacation energy. Coming. Violet grabbed her designer sunglasses, a gift from Nathan for their anniversary, and took one last look at herself. The afternoon dissolved into a blur of poolside cocktails and forced laughter. Violet posted carefully curated photos on social media. Group shots with her 3 girlfriends, sunset over the ocean, artfully arranged drinks. Every image designed to showcase innocent fun. Nothing that would make Nathan suspicious. As evening approached, she excused herself from dinner plans with elaborate lies about a headache. Her friends, who knew nothing of Tyler, accepted without question. Back in her room, Violet showered and changed into the black silk dress she'd hidden at the bottom of her suitcase. Her ears folded back slightly as she sprayed perfume, not the one Nathan had given her, but something new. Something that felt like rebellion. Her tail curved with anticipation as she checked her phone. Tyler would arrive in an hour. Tyler arrived at 9 p.m., his confident knock sending Violet's heart racing. She dimmed the lights, ordered champagne, and convinced herself this was harmless, just one more night of feeling wanted, feeling free. God, you look incredible, Tyler breathed as she opened the door. His hands found her waist immediately, pulling her close. His lips met hers with an urgency that made her forget everything else. They moved toward the bed, champagne forgotten, his hands sliding up her thighs as her tail wrapped instinctively around his leg. Her dress slipped from her shoulders as they fell onto the Egyptian cotton sheets. His mouth traced the sensitive edges of her fox ears, making her gasp, while her fingers worked at his shirt buttons with practiced desperation. I've been thinking about this all week, he murmured against her neck, his hands exploring the curves of her body with possessive familiarity. She arched into his touch, her blonde hair spreading across the pillow like golden silk. But just as his hands began sliding her dress higher, a sharp knock interrupted them. Room service. A voice called from the hallway. Violet froze. I didn't order anything. Ignore it, Tyler whispered, his lips returning to her collarbone. But the knocking persisted. Package delivery for Mrs. Violet Chen. Requires signature. Her ears flattened against her head. Mrs. Chen. Her married name. Tyler tensed beside her, suddenly aware of the reality she'd been so good at hiding. You should get that, he said coolly, sitting up and reaching for his shirt. Violet's hands trembled as she wrapped herself in a hotel robe. Her tail tucked between her legs as she opened the door to find a hotel courier holding an overnight envelope. Sign here, She scrawled her signature, her mind racing. Who would send her something here? She'd been so careful. She closed the door and turned to find Tyler already dressed, his expression unreadable. I should go, he said flatly. Tyler, wait. You're married. Actually married. He brushed past her, and she didn't stop him. Couldn't stop him. Alone now, Violet stared at the envelope in her hands. Her name was printed in familiar handwriting. Nathan's handwriting. Her heart began to pound as her fingers fumbled with the seal. Inside, she found a sheaf of documents and a handwritten letter on top. "Dear Violet," it began. Violet's legs gave out, and she sank onto the bed where minutes ago she'd been wrapped in another man's arms. Her hands shook so violently that the papers rattled as she continued reading Nathan's letter. "I've known about Tyler for 3 months. I hired a private investigator after I found the hotel receipts you forgot to delete from your email. I know about Atlanta, about Chicago, about the weekend you said you were visiting your sister. I know everything. I spent weeks hoping I was wrong, hoping there was some explanation. I went to therapy. I cried. I screamed into pillows so you wouldn't hear me when you came home smelling like someone else and kissed me goodnight. I asked myself what I did wrong. Was I boring? Did I stop making you happy? Should I have been more exciting, more spontaneous? I tortured myself with these questions until my therapist helped me understand something crucial. Your choices are not my failure. You had a husband who loved you completely, who worked extra hours to give you the life you wanted, who defended you to his family when they said we were moving too fast, who held you through your mother's illness and never once complained about cancelled plans or exhausted nights. But none of that was enough because the problem was never about what I lacked. It was about what you chose. I'm not confronting you in person because I've spent enough time begging for crumbs of your attention, enough nights wondering where you really were, enough mornings pretending not to notice your guilt. My dignity is worth more than a dramatic scene. The divorce papers are enclosed. Everything is already filed. I've moved out of the house. You can have it. I've taken what matters to me and left the rest. My lawyer will contact you with details. I hope Tyler makes you happy, Violet. I really do. But I suspect you'll find that happiness built on lies has a shaky foundation. Goodbye, Nathan. Beneath the letter, she found page after page of evidence, photographs of her entering Tyler's apartment building, credit card statements showing purchases for lingerie she'd never worn for Nathan, text message transcripts that read like romance novels written about someone else's life. And finally, the divorce papers, already signed by Nathan, awaiting only her signature. Her phone buzzed. A message from Jessica. "Where are you?" "We're at the club." Violet stared at the message, then at the papers scattered across the bed. Her perfect life, the life she'd been living on Instagram, the life she showed her friends and family, was revealed as the fiction it had always been. Her tail curled around herself protectively as tears finally came. The next morning, Violet sat alone on the hotel balcony, her eyes swollen from crying through the night. The divorce papers lay untouched on the table beside her, their presence a constant accusation. Her blonde hair hung in tangled waves around her face, and her ears drooped with exhaustion. She'd tried calling Nathan 17 times. Every call went straight to voicemail. His social media accounts had blocked her. Even his family had unfriended her overnight. His sister, his mother, even his teenage nephew who used to send her funny memes. The completeness of his departure was stunning. He hadn't just left, he'd erased her. Jessica knocked on the connecting door. "Vi, we're grabbing brunch. You coming?" "I'm not feeling well," Violet called back, her voice hoarse. "You've been saying that since yesterday. What's going on?" Violet opened the door, and Jessica's expression shifted from concern to alarm when she saw her friend's tear-stained face. "Oh my God, what happened?" The whole story tumbled out. Tyler, the affair, Nathan's package, the divorce papers. Jessica listened in stunned silence, her judgment visible in every line of her face. "You cheated on Nathan." Jessica's voice was barely a whisper. "Nathan who surprised you with breakfast in bed every Sunday? Nathan who learned to cook your grandmother's recipes when she died?" "I know." "Do you?" Jessica's tone hardened. "Do you know what you threw away? Half of us were jealous of what you had. The other half used your marriage as proof that good men still existed. It wasn't perfect." "Nothing is perfect, Violet." Jessica stood abruptly. "But you don't blow up something real because it's not exciting enough. You don't betray someone who loves you because you're bored." Jessica moved toward the door, then paused. "I need to tell you something. The girls and I discussed it last night. We can't be part of this anymore. What you did to Nathan, we can't pretend it's okay. You're leaving me. You left yourself when you chose Tyler. We're just acknowledging reality." After Jessica left, Violet called Tyler. He answered on the fourth ring, his voice cautious. "I'm getting divorced," she said. A long pause. "I'm sorry, Violet, but this got too complicated. I don't do complicated." "But I thought." "You thought what? That I wanted to be your next husband? I'm not interested in being anyone's husband. That was kind of the point." He hung up. 6 weeks later, Violet sat in her empty house signing the final divorce papers. Nathan's lawyer had been efficient and fair. He hadn't fought her for anything, hadn't tried to make it ugly. He'd simply divided their life down the middle and walked away with his half. The house felt cavernous now. Nathan had taken the furniture they'd picked out together, the artwork they'd collected on trips, the photos from their wedding. He'd left her the expensive pieces, the designer couch, the crystal chandelier, but taken everything that held meaning. Her phone buzzed with a notification. Someone had tagged her in a photo. She opened it to find Nathan at a gallery opening, his arm around a beautiful deer hybrid with kind eyes and an easy smile. The caption read, "New Beginnings." In the photo, Nathan looked lighter somehow. His smile reached his eyes in a way it hadn't for years. He looked free. Violet stared at her reflection in the blank TV screen. Her ears lay flat against her head, and her tail had lost its shine. The woman looking back at her seemed smaller somehow, diminished by her own choices. She picked up the divorce papers Nathan had sent months ago in Miami and reread his letter. "My dignity is worth more than a dramatic scene." That line hit differently now. She'd spent weeks trying to contact him, trying to explain, trying to apologize. But Nathan had meant what he wrote. He hadn't needed her apology or explanation. He'd needed his self-respect back. And he'd taken it. Violet's phone showed 37 unread messages from Tyler, sent over the past week. He'd heard about the divorce being finalized. Suddenly he was interested again, sending photos, making promises, suggesting they finally give it a real try. Her finger hovered over the message thread. This is what she'd wanted, wasn't it? Freedom. Excitement. Tyler. But looking at his messages now, she saw them for what they were, words from someone who wanted what he couldn't have and would disappear again the moment things got real. She blocked his number. It didn't fix anything. It didn't undo the betrayal or win Nathan back. But it was something. One small choice in the right direction. Violet signed the final page of the divorce papers, her signature steady now. Then she opened her laptop and began typing an email she should have written months ago. A real apology, not the self-serving kind she'd sent before. An apology that asked for nothing in return. She wrote about her mistakes, her selfishness, her cowardice. She didn't make excuses or blame circumstances. She simply acknowledged what she'd done and the pain she'd caused. Before sending it, she reread Nathan's letter one last time. "I hope Tyler makes you happy, Violet." Tyler hadn't made her happy. But maybe that was never the point. Maybe happiness wasn't something someone else could give you, not if you didn't respect yourself first. She hit send on the apology, then closed her laptop. Outside, the sun was setting over the neighborhood she'd soon leave behind. She didn't know what came next, who she would become after this, how she would rebuild a life she'd demolished with her own hands. But she knew one thing, she was done running from consequences. Done pretending actions didn't matter. Done choosing excitement over integrity. Nathan had chosen peace and self-respect. Now, finally, Violet would try to do the same. Her tail lifted slightly, not with anticipation or excitement, but with something quieter. Something that felt like the beginning of dignity. The end.